A little bit different for today, or a little bit new. We're finding equations, finding them from graphs. Shouldn't be too bad though. So to start with, the graphs that we are trying to find the equations for. For sixth grade math, they're going to be all quadrant 1 graphs. So positive numbers. Most of the time, not all of the time, but most of the time they'll have dots for the actual points. So they'll show you which ones to use, or you can use, with a dot. As I said, sometimes they do not, but the majority of the time it seems like they do. The line might not always be there though, okay? It might have a line, it might just be a bunch of points. That just kind of depends on the situation. What we want to look for is we want to look for a point on the graph that is on the corner of the grid lines, okay? So over here on the right, the thing that looks like the tic-tac-toe board, if we pretend that is the grid lines of a graph, what we want is we want to use points that are on the corners, okay? Things like that. We do not want to use points that are in the middle or not where there's two lines intersecting. Everybody clear on that? So on our graph here, the ones now I've got in green would be the ones we'd want to look at because they're on the corner. Any questions on that? All right, so once we have our corner points, all we're going to do is divide. Okay? It's the y divided by x. So which way does the y-axis go? Up and down. It's the vertical one. X then is horizontal. So if I use this first point here, my y value is 3. My x value is 2. So I would be doing 3 divided by 2. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. What that tells me is that tells me the coefficient for the equation, okay? You'll get it as the unit rate some years. You'll get it as the slope eventually once you get to 8th grade. But it's telling me what's going to be in front of my equation. So my equation for that graph would be y equals 1.5x. Okay? Not so bad, right? All right, y'all try that one. Occasionally, you'll get graphs with different variables. It still works out the same way. Whatever variable is on the y-axis is your y value. X-axis is your x value. All right, who's got it? A is correct. As I said, it's the coefficient. Really only one of those answer choices has a coefficient, and that one's A. But what you're doing, all 5 of those points are on corners. So if you do y divided by x, 2 divided by 1, 4 divided by 2, 6 divided by 3, 8 divided by 4, 10 divided by 5. Every one of those is giving me 2. So my equation would be y equals 2x if it had our regular variables. In this case, our y-axis is r, our x-axis is h, so it's r equals 2h. Okay? Any questions? All right, so sometimes you have to match a graph with the scenario. So this one says cars traveling or travel by moving at a rate of 55 miles per hour. So our equation is D equals 55H. That means our rate, or when we do the y divided by x, should give us 55, right? All right, first off, before we even do that, which two graphs don't look quite right? Two in the middle. If you checked on those, both of those, if you did the first point, you would get 55, but it wouldn't work anymore after that. So now, when we're looking at the graph, we just have to remember the correct order on it. It's y divided by x. None of these points are exactly on corners, so they're not usually the best to use if we're trying to figure it out, but it still gives us a basic idea. If you look at this first one, it's a little bit above 50. Could be 55, right? The x value is 1. That would give us 55. The one over here has it reversed. It has our y value as 1. The x value is a little bit over 50. So that one doesn't quite work. That makes the one on the far right the correct answer. All right? Again, not so bad, right? All right, y'all try that one. A bit trickier. They all have coefficients this time, so you have to actually correctly do the division. Aiden? C is our correct answer. You look at these points, the only point on a corner is that one right there. Our y value is 5, x value is 4. So when you go to work this out, to do your division, the y value is on the inside, x value on the outside. 4 goes into 5 one time. We subtract. We got to put a decimal, and we can add as many zeros as we need. Decimal comes straight up. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8. At this point, I could actually probably stop because that's the only one that's 1.2. But when we keep going, we get a 2, bring down the next 0. 4 goes into 20, 5 times, and then we're done right there. Okay? All right, so this one, the graph does not start at the origin. Everybody see what I mean? It's not starting in the corner there. If it does not start in the corner, it's a slightly different situation. What it means is we aren't going to be multiplying. We're going to be adding, okay? So we're going to have y equals x plus something. Anybody got to guess what we're adding? X plus what? 2, yeah. It'll be x plus 2. The way you can figure out what's being added is our starting point. Okay, this one was starting at 2, so it's x plus 2. Any questions on that? Most, not all, but most of the graphs that you see will be the kind with the coefficient, so you got to do the division.